called the three kings, which is the three brightest stars in Orion's belt, dying on the Southern Cross and coming back in 3 days. The only thing that this is signifying is the solstice changes. The solstice changing meaning from winter solstice to spring solstice. The sun has traveled to its most southern point, and it takes 3 days in order to restart its cycle to bring back the warmth to
That's why they originally had a 3-month calendar?
Well, nah. I think originally there was a 10-month calendar. I believe the 2 extra months were added during the Roman era.
So I read
King
something
Augustus,
about that. It went up to October or something like that.
Augustus created the month of August.
That's why this
and his wife created the month of, I believe, June or July. Whatever Augustus's wife is, she created July. July and August are 2 months that did not exist.
Before.
Yeah, those 2 months did not exist in the calendar before the Roman era. Augustus and his wife created the month of August and July in their name because they felt that because they were kings, you know, Augustus, he died before Julius, so he's, you know, they made him a god and then created a month for him. Well, she figured before she died, she's got the same, so she created a month in her name. So there you got 60 extra days, you know, just added, you know, because they were, you know, these pompous fucks. Now, I don't really want to get into my theory of the sun, the mind, and the cosmos yet, because I think that's a different story. Really, we want to talk about the Twa people. The Twa people were supposedly the beings that populated the region known as Africa now, and educated the inhabitants of this place with the sciences of astrology, mathematics, and numerous other things. I don't have the book with me, but we all know the things that they say that we supposedly got from the Greeks wasn't really from the Greeks. They were from the Twa people. Now, if you ever seen an image of a Twa being, he stands about 3.5 to 4 feet tall and looks remarkably like pygmies.
I was gonna say like a pygmy.
Looks just like the pygmies. And I believe that the pygmies and other aboriginals were all tiny people. You know, we look at size and we look at colors and all of these things, and we have to accept the idea that none of us are from this place. The aboriginals are the aboriginals. When you see them, you know. And they don't look anything like an African. They don't, I mean, they don't look like an American. They don't look
almost alienated.
You know them when you see them. You know, the Ubuntu people, you know them when you see them. You know, the Australian people, you know them when you see them. The Native Americans, the Indians, you know them when you see them. The Twa people, like I said, there's not much known about them. You know, in order to find out about the Twa people, you're going to have to go to Africa, you know, and talk to the people here. You will not find people here unless they're down with Ashra or down with the Metu Neter or down with anything dealing with science coming from Africa. They may know about it. But you won't go on Google. You can't Google the Twa people and find anything. You know, if you go and look in a dictionary, I mean in a library, you're gonna find a brief statement about the Twa people being one of the, you know, early tribes of Africa. Period. You know, and they'll describe them just like they describe, you know, the pygmy people or any other aborigine. You know, there's a small little blurb. They got a little bit of history about them, but you will never hear that the Twa people were extraterrestrial, that they were from another planet, that they were from an existence that was not created from the soil of this environment, of this planet. Sadly to say, I can't speak too thoroughly on them because I haven't hooked up with Ashra, you know, which is something that I'm trying to do. You know, like I said, I'm trying to link up the Phoenix Experience and the Metu Neter group with him. You know, there's another organization out of New York called the Smai Tawi people. I'm sorry. That's SMAI TAWI. And they're another organization that is rooted their spiritual cultivation and social cultivation in the sciences of the Metu Neters 1 and 2.
Now they're from the same origins as Twa?
No, Smai people is an organization that exists today.
Oh, all right.
They're in New York. They're based in New York, and they have a following that follows the sciences of the Metu Neters 1 and 2. And they know about the Twa people. If you want to find out about them, you could probably see those people too. Now, I mean, the Twa people, what you have to understand is the whole reason why we know what astrology is because of the Twa people. They brought the science of astrology, you know, and it thrived for hundreds of thousands of years, all the way up until the Christian era. And Constantine. Now, Constantine came from Europe. And European cultures did not, the main thing about them, all of their systems were matriarchal. Constantine, where he came from, is that the kings and queens, the gods and goddesses, I mean, they didn't believe in anything that had to do with the female and power. They did not associate power with female, period. They suppressed the female, you know. Totally suppressed them. Not only suppressed them, but abused them. You know, female because they did not possess the strength of a man, therefore couldn't defend themselves. And the men knowing this took full advantage of it. And they were not schooled by the moral ethical code of Ma'at. They had parted. You know, this was after the scattering. And when I talk about the scattering was Constantine. See, society and the communities, more importantly the communities, not just society. See, it's funny, we talk about society now, and community and society is separated. There's a difference. Whereas back then, it was a people and a people and a people. You know, there wasn't certain segments of people that are called this, that. This, you got communities and societies and neighborhoods and, you know, groups. Yo, it's the people. And the people who live together in this place live together in a sort of harmony. In other words, no one was ignorant of laws that you cannot break. If it's a law you can't break and you try to break it, all the people are looking at you like you got four heads. You know, it's like you're gonna try to pee straight up in the air. You know, if you see me doing that, all of you are gonna look at me like, you know. Crazy. But we, you know, when we walk down the street and we see a homeless guy laying up there and he's peeing straight up in the air, we walk right by it like whatever. He's ignored. You know, he's ignored. So you had people who were trying to disrupt society and everybody was a whistleblower. Like, huh? Did you hear him? Yeah, I heard him. Huh? You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't hard to exile. It wasn't hard to separate that element, that disruptive, that inharmonious element. It wasn't hard to. You isolated yourself. You separated yourself by just being. By being that vibe, by being that rebellious. And when I say rebellious, it's a different type of rebellion today than the times that I'm talking about. You know, if I got a glass of water or you know, something holding some water and the person next to me is dying of thirst, it would be inhuman of me to finish my glass and not give you a drop and and then on top of it look at you and say, why don't you have your own glass? That was unheard of. So all the people that were like that were scattered, you know, and somebody organized them. Somebody pulled them together, or they pulled themselves together, and they said, look, we're growing in numbers. We can continue to grow in numbers. And if we grow in numbers, we can change things.